Well, this is the fourth video on solving equations as an introduction to algebra. And so it'll involve all of the concepts that we've talked about up to this point in solving equations. Sometimes I like to call these techniques methods of solution. Okay. So let's first look at a method of solution that we haven't talked about yet. We'll start with problem 2. 3x plus 5 equals x minus 2. So something important to notice about this problem is that you've got x's on opposite sides of this equation. So remember how an equation always has two sides, and the goal is to keep those two sides in balance and to arrive at a statement that says x equals whatever our answer happens to be. Okay? So if we want to get these two x's together, if they were on the same side, we would just combine them as like terms. But since they're on opposite sides, we need to cancel out 1x here by subtracting 1x and balance that by subtracting 1x on the other side. So those cancel out. We're left with the negative 2. Over here, 3x minus 1x is 2x. And then we still have the 5. So now we want to cancel out this 5 by subtracting 5 on both sides. And that gives us 2x equals negative 7. And then we divide on both sides by 2. And we get x is negative 3.5 or negative 7 over 2. Okay, so that's the new concept on this assignment, is when you've got x's on both sides, you're going to need to do the opposite to combine them together. Okay? All right, let's see here. Let's look at problem 6. Here we've got 5y minus 4 equals negative 3y plus 6. So a very similar setup for problem number 6. I'll draw this dotted line just to remind us that we've got two different sides in this equation. So now if we want to bring these y's together, I'm going to need to cancel out this y by doing the opposite. And so I'm going to add 3y to both sides. Those cancel out. Still have the 6 over here. And over here I've got 8y minus 4. Okay, and then I'll add the 4 to both sides. And that'll say 8y equals 10. And then divide on both sides by 8. And here y is going to be, let's see, what is that going to be? 1.25. If you like a fraction, it'll be 5 over 4 in lowest terms. That 10 over 8 will reduce to 5 over 4. Okay. Let's see what else we've got here. All right. Let's skip down to number 12. Where it gets a little bit more interesting. We've got 10 minus 3x on one side, and then 2x minus 8x plus 40 on the other side. So, now, this is where you have to have an understanding of what's happening in this equation, right? When things are on opposite sides, if you want to get them together, you've got to do the opposite, okay, to cancel it out on one side and bring it over to the other side. If they're on the same side, then this is just like those problems that we did in, I believe it was the third assignment, where we talked about combining like terms. These are on the same side, so we just do 2x minus 8x, negative 6x. Okay? Now, this problem looks like one of those problems that we did at the beginning of this video. Okay? Let's see here. And it's up to you whether you want to add. I'll do this both ways. I'll solve it one way, and then I'll go back and solve it the other way. So first, I'm going to cancel out the 6x by adding 6x to both sides, and that'll bring this over to the left-hand side. Over here, we'll be left with 40. Over here, it'll be 10 plus 3x, right? Because we have the positive 6x, the negative 3x, so that'll give us a positive 3x. And then we just need to subtract 10 on both sides. That'll cancel out. That'll give us 3x equals 30. And then when we divide by 3 on both sides, x is equal to 10. Okay, so that's one way of solving this problem. Now let's go back to this point right here. 10 minus 3x equals negative 6x plus 40. And you might say, well, what if I didn't want to cancel this out and move it over here? What if I wanted to cancel out this and move it to the right-hand side, right? What if you choose to add 3x to both sides? That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not making a mistake by doing this. This is just a different choice that you have. Now, you do have to be careful with this computation right here. Negative 6 and positive 3 make negative 3x. And then we'll move the 40 over here. And again, 10 minus 40 is going to give us a negative 30 on this side. And then when we divide on both sides by negative 3, we'll still get x equals positive 10. So it doesn't matter which side you decide to group everything on. Okay? The important part is to make a decision, stick with it, finish the problem, pay attention to your computation, and then that'll lead you to the correct answer. All right. Let's see here. Let's do number 16. Very similar to problems 12 and 14. Because you've got, actually on both sides now, we've got to combine like terms first. So let's see, we've got 5x minus 7 plus 1x equals 7x plus 21 minus 5x. Okay, so you've got some choices, as I was just pointing out over here, right? You've got some choices about how to go about doing this problem. I'll always try to choose the most direct and easiest to understand method for solving these types of equations. And in this case, that would be to combine your like terms on either side of the equation before you start trading things back and forth between the two sides. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I just think that this is easier and more straightforward. So you've got a positive 5x here and a positive 1x here. Remember that that minus sign is attached to the 7. Does not get involved with combining the 5x and the 1x. So over here we're going to have 6x minus 7. And over here we've got a 7x and minus 5x. So 7 minus 5 is 2. And then we've still got that 21. Okay, so now I'm going to subtract 2x on both sides. This will give us 4x minus 7 is 21. And then add 7 to both sides. So 4x equals 28. Divide on both sides by 4. And x is equal to 7. Okay? So again, it's the same concepts that we've talked about, but there's just a little bit more going on here, and you've got to be careful about making decisions about what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Okay. Let's look at problem 20 over on the second page here. This is 7 times 5y minus 2 equals 5 times 6y minus 1. Okay, so here what we want to do is distribute these into the parentheses. And 7 times 5y is 35y. 7 times minus 2 is minus 14. Over here, 5 times 6y is 30y. 5 times negative 1 is negative 5. So let's see. I'll subtract the 30y on both sides. Those cancel out. This will leave us 5y minus 14. Don't lose that negative sign. that's attached to the 5. And then we'll add 14 to both sides. Negative 5 and positive 14 should give us positive 9. So 5y equals 9. Divide on both sides by 5. And y should be 1.8. Or if you like fractions, you can call it 9/5 in lowest terms. Okay, now these last 3 problems get a little bit complicated. So let's work through them and see what we can do. So in problem 22, we've got 5 times a plus 3, and then plus 9 on the end, equal to 3 times a minus 2 plus 6 on the end. Okay, so we're going to start out the same way as I did in problem 20. I'm going to distribute into the parentheses. And so this will be 5a plus 15 plus 9. Notice I didn't multiply the 5 times 9 because the 9 is not inside the parentheses. Same thing's going to happen over here. This will be 3a minus 6 plus 6. Now let's combine our like terms, right? We've got some constant pieces, our numerical terms here and here. These two make 0. You can call it 3a plus 0 if you want to, but normally we just leave that off. Over here, we'll have 5a plus 24. And then let's see, I'll subtract 5a on both sides. And this is where your computation becomes important. The 3 minus 5 will give us negative 2a. And then we'll divide on both sides by negative 2. And we'll get an answer, a equal to negative 12. All right, let's see here. Problem 24. 13 minus parentheses 2x plus 2 equals 2 times x plus 2 plus an x on the end. Okay. So in this one, remember that minus sign in front of a parentheses is like you're distributing a negative 1. So you can think of it that way if you'd like. And you can think of it as distributing the negative sign as well. It'll change the signs of whatever's inside there. So this will be 13 minus 2x and then minus 2. And let's see, over on this side we'll get 2x plus 4 and then plus this x on the end. And remember, this piece does not get multiplied by the 2. Same thing we saw in this problem right here. It just kind of hangs around and waits for the next step, and then we can combine it with whatever came out of that previous step. So here we're going to have an x and a 2x. That'll make 3x plus 4. Over here, let's see here. Depends on how you want to write this. We can think of this as 13 minus 2 makes 11. Minus 2x, you could write negative 2x plus 11. That's the same thing. The key here now is to collect the x's together. So we add 2x to both sides. And then subtract 4. And then we'll have 5x equal to 7. Divide on both sides by 5. And x is going to be, let's see, in this one, that's 1.4, and you can call it 7 over 5 if you'd like. Okay, I think we got one more to go here. So, problem 26 has some similarities to problem 24. Let's see, we start out 12 minus 5 times y minus 1 equals 1 minus 3y plus 4. Okay, So notice again, you've got this number minus a parentheses, 1 minus the parentheses, and so you can think of this as distributing a -1 or just distributing the negative sign, but in either case you'll get 1 minus 3y minus 4. And then over here we want to distribute this minus 5. Don't fall for this trick. A lot of people see that 12 minus 5 and then say, oh, I'm going to do that first, that's the easiest part. But it's not, okay? The multiplication has to happen first before you can do the adding and subtracting, okay? So that 12 has to wait here while we distribute the -5 into the parentheses, and that'll give us minus 5y plus 5. Okay, now we want to combine our like terms. Again, this negative sign is attached to the 5y. It doesn't have anything to do with the 12, doesn't have anything to do with the 5. You've got a positive 12 and a positive 5, and so we'll have the -5y and a positive 17. Okay, over here we've got 1 minus 4 makes -3, and then -3y. Okay, let's see. Now you've got a choice. You can move this over here, you can move this over here. Either one is correct. I'm going to add 5y to both sides. That'll give us 17 equals -3 plus 2y. And then add the 3 over here. And that'll give us 2y equal to 20. Divide on both sides by 2. And we come out with a nice answer, y equals 10. Okay, so that's it for this topic. Okay, we've gone through all of these basic ideas of solving this type of equation, all the things that you're going to run into when we come to the final exam. So in the next video, we'll be moving on to a new topic. We've got 2 major topics to finish up before the end of the term. So I think that is a positive thing. We're moving towards the end. So if you have any questions on this, please let me know, because like I said, we're about to move on. So I want to make sure that everybody understands this before we move on to something new. Thanks.